Hello and welcome to this edition of Hogo Game Day. Today we're here with the head coach for the Patrick Henry Rebels, Mark Palmer, and we're going to ask him a few questions about how his teams look this fall. This is his fourth season here with Patrick Henry. Started last season 3-0 for the first time in 15 years, so it's definitely a good start to the year. However, sort of injuries happened and didn't win for the rest of the season, but the start was definitely a positive start for the Rebels. And this season, a lot of people have them being sort of a spoiler team. We're going to ask him about that later on. Coach, going into your fourth season, how do you feel everything's falling into place for this season?
We have learned how to work. We've developed a good work ethic. Our kids have learned how to practice and expectations. You know, when a person takes over a program, they look for the changes really to start in that third year, and then the fourth year, you know, is the turnaround year you'd hope for, because that's your first group that's come through. So my senior class has only played for me, and they have bought into what I'm selling, what I bring to the table, and it's very exciting. I think the pieces are there.
Yeah, and that's one thing we know, that you've worked with these guys all the way through, and you've seen them grow all the way from the 8th grade level through.
Yeah, absolutely. They coming in as freshmen, and unfortunately, I told them they had to play some as freshmen. A lot of sophomores, which, you know, in other schools they have that luxury of playing JV and getting comfortable, but they kind of got thrown out to the wolves. And but you know, School of Hard Knocks can teach a lot of good lessons, and we're looking forward to the season.
Yeah, you lost Randy Heldreth, a very important piece of your defense last season, and a lot of other defensive players other than Randy. He was the core senior leader of that defense. Can you tell us how you're looking in your linebacking core as far as who can step up?
Sure. So Randy did a good job for us, and he's one of those young men who, Patrick and we've struggled for some time, and he was forced to play early and played a lot of football, and will be missed. But you know, we've got two linebackers we feel really good about. Andy Cuddy, who played linebacker last year and played the year before in JV. And then also Grant Ramey. And Grant came in last year a little later, and about the third game of the season started for us, and he has gotten stronger, got himself in better shape. And Randy, with that leadership role he had last year, we think Grant's going to take that role on and just has the respect of the defense and of his teammates.
Okay, another couple things on defensive linemen. How's the defensive line coming out?
Well, you know, we've got some athletic kids on defensive linemen. Isaac Carver has kind of played a lot of different places in his career here as a senior. Plays one of our ends, and you know, he's an athletic kid. He's got some quickness. He's pretty strong. Kevin Thomas knows one speed. He goes 100 miles an hour. He's a pretty strong kid. You know, his father's a coach, so he understands, you know, the game, and he does a super job. And then we got a couple big kids who play nose guard for us. Jacob Sheets, Matt Tigner, Clay Seymour. Those are all kids there that's got a little size on them, some strength. So we're going to play as many kids as we can. We're lower numbers than we wanted to be, and in order to stay fresh and be competitive, we're going to play a lot of kids.
Yeah, and that's really going to pay off this year, because you actually seem like you got depth on the line.
I think you know, we get about 18 kids play football. To explain what I mean by that is, you know, everybody has their start 11, and we feel like we've got 18, 19 kids
that are
out
versatile.
That can play, and is going to, you know, when one goes out, two comes in. There's not much of a drop off. We feel real good about that. That's of course with the skilled kids also. 10 through 12, we're about 25 kids, so we've got 3 or 4 first-year players, and the rest of the kids are going to play a lot of football.
And Thad, how is your team look so far during the first few days of fall practice?
Well, we've been making progress. Like the way we started out the first 5 days of practice, first 8 days of practice, went very well. We got our good pads. Kids have stepped up and done what we expected to them. Today, first day of school, didn't go as expected. We struggled a little bit. So that's one of the things that they have to do. We're going to face adversity this year just because we have seniors back. A lot of people like the kids we have. Nobody's going to roll for us. You know, nobody's just going to say, oh, let's let Patrick Henry win. They've been down. So our kids got to understand every week it's not fun. Everybody on our schedule can beat us. We like to think everybody on our schedule can beat us.
outlook, and you feel like this year's getting off to maybe a 3-0 start again, what do you feel like went wrong last year, if anything went wrong at all?
Well, first of all, I'm trying to teach my kids this year. We do have added confidence. We're just trying to win every day. We want to get out and be better every day. I don't want to look at week 4. I don't want to look and say, hey, we're a playoff team. I don't want to look at Thomas Long. We want to go out tomorrow too, so we can be what my real full of scrimmage playing. Last year, I felt like we got a good start, and the teams that we played, the teams that we played well against, we won. And probably the biggest difference was the teams, the last 7 games of the season were just better than we were. They played well. We had some competitive games. We had 2 games which we were blown out in and didn't play well at all. But for the other 5, they were competitive games. Felt like our kids played hard. We just got to learn to win and learn to get some stops on defense and give credit to teams who played. They just outplayed us.
Okay, as we lead into that, let's go on and talk about what we've talked about with every coach, the new 90-minute-a-week contact rule. A lot of coaches are pretty supportive of it as far as around here with the small number of players, and I always want to know how you feel about that.
Don't like it.
You don't like it?
Don't like it. No, I don't. I think that I've coached at small schools my entire life, at Irvington, at St. Paul. St. Paul's a small school in the state of Virginia, play tackle football, and it is my job as a coach to coach my team and prepare them for Friday night. There may be a week where we hit more than 90 minutes. There might be a week we don't even hit 90 minutes. But the administration that hires me puts me in charge of the safety of young men first and foremost. And I don't like the rule. I understand it, and I understand the direction football's going. But I think that you really got to monitor it. And we did last week, and we were well within our 90 minutes. But that's just my take on it. We will do what the law says, and we will abide by it.
Are you against it just because of the fact I feel like the alternating opinion on it is that the fact, let me think of what I'm trying to say here, getting practice hitting. You got to get practice hitting to really learn how to hit.
I think that it's a point where your body has to absorb some punishment to be prepared for Friday night, because at a small school you're not going to be able to get game speed during practice, and you're not going to be able to face your opponent during the week. So the hitting that goes on during the week, for the most part, isn't as tense as Friday night. So that's one thing to take into factor. The second thing is if I go through a week and don't hit much in preseason, and we face that team that's out to beat us, I mean, they're going to come to stroke us, and there is a limit. Your body has to kind of get toughened up somewhat. I think you can see that in boxing and MMA. They don't try to knock each other out, but they absorb some blows and they work on some things. So, I don't like it. I'm not going to change my mind. I've been doing this for a long time and been able to manage teams with small numbers and not beat kids up or get kids hurt in practice. So, but I'm sure that there's people who are a lot successful, more successful than I've been. So maybe I'll learn something. Maybe we'll win more.
Have you seen? We've got some talent in your team as far as in the backfield coming this fall with Andy Cuddy and Dakota Humphrey. Can you tell us some things about those running backs that make them so special?
They have great work ethic. They love lifting weights. Those 2 young men worked out together, and that's what I admire about them, because they're in competition for the starting running back position. But yet last year, during their time lifting, they were workout buddies. They worked out all year together, and Dakota's quite strong. He actually was probably the 3rd or 4th strongest kid on our team, and he was a freshman, and he had a couple of juniors that were stronger than he was, and it was just within a total combined poundage just by 30 or 40 pounds. Andy out squats him, but Dakota outlifts him a couple other lifts. But Dakota's got more speed, runs the ball hard. He reminds me of the 2 great running backs by the Holston the last couple of years, Milhorn and Barlow. Those kids were pretty outstanding, and Dakota reminds me of that. Andy isn't as fast, but he does have good vision. Andy has the ability to make a quick cut, and he is, like I said, strong and can run the football. So they're a pretty good 1-2 punch, and I think the fact they're strong and run well and we can alternate series with them. Hopefully, that's going to give us the advantage in the fourth quarter with some fresher legs.
Yeah, and other than that, you've got a lot of other running backs too that you can put in.
We do. I like our skill set. You don't forget our quarterback. Our quarterback can run the ball as well as throw it. Zach Wright ran for about 600 yards last year. We have some slot backs in there that's all talented kids. Alex Davenport, who's a sophomore, is a kid that finished second at state in 110 hurdles as a freshman, so he's got some wheels. Kent Kester and Isaac Carver, two seniors. We talked about Isaac, defensive line. Isaac's hard to tackle. He's a big, rangy kid. He runs hard and he's just a real shifty guy. Last year, he got the ball down the field. He can make a person miss, so he's going to be able to do that.
Also got very good hands.
He's got great hands. Caleb Boyd is a guy that's rangy and tall. He's got pretty good speed and can get the ball to the corner for us. And if he catches a pitch off the ops, he could do some things. So we're real excited about those guys. And this year at the end of the season was the first time that we had kids that run sub 540s consistently. We have about 6 kids who's 4.9 or better. And in the past we got 4.9, we stick with pink. So we feel like we finally got some kids who can run and maybe make a difference if they can get past the line of scrimmage.
How big of a thing is it for you to have that much versatility as far as on offense going in, as far as playing and setting it up? What goes into that?
Well, it's a double-edged sword. We only got one football,
and
we got all these skill kids, and everybody wants to touch the ball, and we can talk about a wideout. So that's why we keep preaching concept of teamwork. We keep preaching concept, getting better every day, and what we're going to do is go with what works. I think that if everybody continues to perform at the high level that they are, that we can be difficult to scheme for and stop. But it's still, with all those guys we talked about, it still starts up front. And we still have to block people who come off the football and do a good job. And if we don't do a good job up front, then all the guys we just talked about, it's not going to make hill beans, because you win win games up front.
And we talked about all that without even mentioning wide receivers. Really, we were talking about guys who could play, who were wide receivers, but can actually run the ball as well. So it's a very versatile team there. As far as wide receiver, you're also pretty deep.
We do. We have a bunch of kids catch the ball. We got Andy Garrett, who can be a tight end or split out wide. Johnny Reichler can do the same thing, tight end, split out wide. Kevin Thomas, split out wide, or be a tight end. We got Graydon Williams, who's tall, and Graydon has really come on. You see a kid 6'5", runs pretty well. You think, wow, he can just dominate a defensive backfield. And kind of had to get used to the way we did things last year. But this summer he's been lights out. Been doing a good job, been working hard. Has had a great camp, doing a good job of leadership. Austin Hayden's a senior, been playing 4 years. He's a more possession type receiver. Caleb Boyd plays some split in. I'm sure I'm going to forget somebody, but there we just that's a lot of kids, and we feel good about it. We feel like they all make plays.
And you have a couple good tight ends there too, with Andy Garrett.
And they block well and are a threat to catch the football.
And they're good dual threats there,
sir.
As far as, and they can run too.
Yes,
as well.
Not bad.
Not bad. What do you see your team's strength on offense, and then tell us about where you see your team's strength on defense?
Well, I believe we have a lot of skilled kids. I think up front, if it continues on pace that's going and continue to perform well, we're probably going to start 4 seniors out of 5 on the offensive line. And when we bring our tight end, it's 5 out of 6. So, the experience up front is going to be the key to our season. With all the skill we have, with the potential of running inside, outside, throwing it, that's all nice on paper. But the key's up front. And I like to think those guys are our strength because their experience, they've worked hard in the weight room. So I like to say that, and at the same time knowing that I think we can run the ball in between the tackles, off the tackles. I think we can run get to the edge, and then I think we can throw the football. I think we're multi-dimensional in the way we can attack people. So, I'm excited about my offense. We'll probably go out here and lay a few goose eggs, but on paper we look real good, and I think that we have a lot of strengths there.
As far as strength, you think offensive line has got to be your strength?
They have. If we're going to be successful, they have to be our strength. struggled. In my 3 years here, they struggled the year before in defense. So the 4 years, we've struggled defensively. I think again, we are going to be pretty good in the perimeter, on the corner, and our linebackers. I think that is something that we have experience at corners, at safeties. We have experience at linebacker. We have experience with our defensive ends. So we have experience up front too. It's just that I think those guys, I think we run well enough now that if they break the line of scrimmage, we have some guys who can run the alley. We have some guys who can fill some holes for us to get off the field on some third downs rather than continue to drive the clock on us.
So defensively, that's where you see your strengths. Andy can edit that out.
Do it.
You return your versatile QB Zach Wright this fall. Can you tell us some things about Zach Wright, how he's improved as far as a player and as a leader going into this fall, and then tell us some things that you liked out of him as a player?
Well, Zach loves football. Zach has the desire and goal to play college football. So he studies the game. He watches film. Zach has a personal coach outside that works with him in developing his quarterback skills. He wants to throw every weekend in the off season to improve his arm strength, to work on timing. So his work ethic is second to none. He's a great Christian young man that just sets a leadership. That I think he has respect for all his teammates. He has respect of his coaches, and you can't say enough good things about Zach Wright. He's just an outstanding young man who has talent to boot.
And that really pays off as far as that. And quarterbacks, you've definitely got a few coming on as far as after Zach's gone. Can you tell us some things about your second string QB and your third string?
We've got a couple of kids we think that could continue on in Zach's tradition of a strong run and be able to throw the football. Right now, Zane Seymour is our backup quarterback. He's a sophomore. He's tall. He's rangy. My quarterback's coach, Seth Padgett, feels real good about him and his future. And then we got a really good athlete in the freshman class, Caleb Edwards, who's big young and can run. He's dominated middle school track for 2 years. And I just think that we've got some athletes in that position. When they touch it from that pistol set every play, only good things can happen.
Yeah, that pistol set, especially with Zach back there this year, will be a huge boost as far as running it. This is his senior season.
Well, Zach can read the option, and there's a few times last year we watched film and he really pulled and made some people look silly. So he does that very well. But now he throws the ball well too, and he can read a defense and he knows where to go with it. And he's a luxury to have because if we want to check out of something, we can tell him in the weeks that listen, here's what you want to look for, and he can make the check the line of scrimmage. So it takes a little pressure off us, and it's good to have a senior quarterback,
it's especially having another coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go ahead and talk about, we had a coaching change coming in to this season. Coach Brandon Blankenship went to Wytheville to become offensive line coach. He was a huge part of all the coaching that's been going on here at PH for probably the last 6, 7,
close to 10 years.
Probably close to 10.
Yes,
yeah, close to 10 years. And he was actually in the hospital this week. We'd like to send out our prayers and everything for him.
Hallscat.
Yeah, maybe. I think he's doing better now. I think he's going back home.
He's been released. He sure has.
So hope he recovers well and gets back out on the field. And hopefully he'll be ready for Friday night football. But can you talk about the void that he's left?
Well, I'm a big relationship type of guy. When I talk to my coaches when I came in and in 3 years, I think that we as coaches have to build relationships with our players we coach. I think it's more, if we only in it for football and trying to win on Friday nights, you're in your own business. Or you maybe should be at the college or pro level. In high school football, we got to build relationships with these kids, and we've got to teach them to be young men. Brandon did a super job of that, like all my coaches did. And the kids really liked him, they respected him, and they played hard for him. And losing a guy like Brandon hurts, but we had some younger guys on staff last year that watched how he and I worked together and had an effect on their coaching style. So, I think they're going to step up and coach our kids up and do a good job with it.
Yeah, and we wish Brandon the best of luck in his recovery and in his first season at Georgia with. What is one thing that you want your players to have learned from you after they graduate?
I got a phrase that I tell them all the time. I say, guys, life is 10% what happens and 90% how you react to it. And I want them to know that hopefully through 4 years of playing football in my football program, Patrick's football program, that when they come out, they're going to be a better young man and be prepared for life. So if they can always remember that, because bad things are going to happen. We're going to run into adversity and obstacles in life. And I just hope they can remember things only 10%, 90% how we react to it. And I hope they have learned in watching how I try to pattern myself, whether it be practice or a game or off season, that you have to remain calm. You have to be clear-headed and do the right things.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good lesson to teach right there. As far as, let's go ahead and talk about preseason stuff here. I'll put you on the spot. Can you give us your top 3 of any team?
Sure. I think if I was going to pick a team to be the top, I'd go with they had a good season last year. I know they lost some key kids, but they got the Wagner kid back, and he's a dynamite player, hard kid to tackle. Coach Carroll does a great job up there. They're the biggest school in the district. Plays kids a little easier than some other schools would. So I think you go with Marion first. Then I think you go with George Wythe. George Wythe has just abundance of talent still. I think they had some outstanding little seniors on that team, and they're still George Wythe, 2 years removed from a state title, whatever they are. And if you go with consistency, Joe Howland, they've been a model of consistency for as long as I can remember. And the thing about Coach Robson, he's got those big offensive linemen back. They're good football players. And like I said earlier, you win up front, you have a chance to win the game. So I would think that put Joe Howard right there in the third spot.
So right there, your top 3. As far as that, we've talked a lot. We've talked to 3 coaches so far. They've given us their surprise team, and they've named the Patrick Henry Rebels as their surprise team. Does that really shock you that they're calling y'all the surprise team? As far as you think it's just because you're getting your senior class that you've coached all the way through in?
Well, I think there's at times last year we moved the football well. I think maybe we surprised some teams that we were able to do that and be competitive. We've been down for so long. I remember the 4 years since we won a district game. And, I would like to think that what we have spent a lot of hard time doing the last 3 years, that we've garnered some respect from the coaches in the district, that our players have garnered that respect, knowing that, hey, listen, there's 15 seniors in this team, and they're pretty tough. And but that's nice, and I appreciate that, guys. But nobody's going to roll for us, as I said earlier. And if our guys read the press clippings or listen to the coaches, then we're going to be back next year talking about 3 and 7 or 1 or 9 or whatever. If we go out and win every day, we go out every day and just try to get better, then who knows what may happen this year. I mean, I think there's the district, top to bottom, maybe a little closer than it's been in a while.
Yeah,
but, you got great athletes in Northwood. You got a super quarterback over at Holston. Rural treat. I don't know if you can't name the last time they've had a losing season. I mean, they always go out and they play hard, and those kids are tough-nosed. And somebody else. I guess that's everybody. But, it's just any given week. I think somebody could beat somebody.
Yeah, I believe this year is actually the tightest year in the Hogan-Higgy. Especially at the top. Once we get down to the bottom, it gets really messed up because there's been so many players lost, so much shuffling around. And I think that's why a lot of people are considering Patrick Henry a surprise team, because you have that consistency coming back with all those 15 seniors.
We hope so.
With that, we're going to go ahead and get ready for a little game called Know Your Coach. Hello and welcome back. This is time for our little segment, a game that we play called Know Your Coach, and we're going to start it. Our winning time right now is 1 minute and 20 seconds by head coach Derek Patterson from Holston. Second place is Joey Carroll. He had 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Okay.
And third place is Mark Fry. He had 2 minutes and 1 second. So we'll see how you do here, Coach.
All right, ready to go.
All right, tell me when you're ready, Andy. What was your dream job when you were a kid?
High school football coach.
Least favorite song?
Anything heavy metal.
Laid back or intense?
Laid back.
If you could live in any decade, which would it be?
70s.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Favorite movie?
Rocky.
Special talent?
Dancing.
Second favorite sport?
MMA.
Favorite TV show?
Seinfeld.
Coke or Pepsi?
Neither.
What do you?
Water.
Favorite sports team?
Detroit Lions.
Unknown fact?
Used to be a professional wrestler.
Math or history?
Math.
Most used line as a coach?
Guys, what happens to you is 10% what happens and 90% how you react to it.
Favorite vacation spot?
Polly's Island.
First car?
Escort.
Your biggest coaching moment?
This past year at Tennessee Tech, we had 9 men go for it except the Lord Jesus Christ.
That's it.
1 minute, 7 seconds.
1 minute, 7 seconds. You won. You're ahead so
Got
far.
you, Patterson.
Uh-oh. He's ahead so far. He took over the spot. So it's Coach Palmer, Coach Patterson, Coach Carroll, and then Coach Fry. So
Coach
got
Fry
a
might
few
have
more
won
teams.
if he wouldn't elaborated so much on his answers.
yeah, Coach Fry. I think Coach Fry thought the longest time won, maybe. But yeah, you're ahead. How do you feel about that?
Hey, maybe it sets a precedent for the season.
You're setting the example. You rolled through those. That was pretty
Yeah.
good. You hadn't been cheating, have you?
How would I cheat?
Reviewing the film tape.
I didn't know there was a film out there. You mean you're
Oh,
putting this online?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to mix up a question. No, we have them mixed up pretty good. As far as that, let's go ahead and talk about the Rebels preseason schedule.
Okay.
You got a game coming up this Saturday.
This Saturday we travel to Bland County, Bland, Roanoke Catholic, Montcalm will be there besides us, but we'll scrimmage Bland and Roanoke Catholic. That's Saturday 16th, 10 a.m. If anybody wants to drive it and watch us play. Then the next Friday is our Bank of Marion Kickoff Classic. We'll start the thing off at 4 o'clock. We'll be playing against Eastern Montgomery. And then Eastern Montgomery will play Holston. We've got them an hour and 15-minute segments to try to work that out. But I found out some of the teams aren't going to be bringing JV, so maybe it won't be quite as long. But after Holston plays Eastern Montgomery, they'll play Radford. Radford will play Northwood, and then we'll finish off with Northwood on the nightcap.
Okay.
And we got the last one start around 9, but again, like I said, some of the JV teams, Radford's not bringing a JV team. Don't know what Coach Fry wants to do yet, so we'll see.
Okay, yeah, we'll be here for that game. We're going to do a test run as far as for the preseason show because that's a week away from the start of the football season.
That's right here.
And it's hard to believe that it's already here. But Coach, thank you for.
Hey, thank you very
letting us
much,
come
Gil.
by.
Appreciate it.
And I enjoyed coming back here to my school, right?
That's right. Go Rebels.
You were afraid I was getting unbiased, weren't
Hey,
you?
I saw it have your Mark Fry with those hats on. I don't know. I worried about that.
Yeah, shoot. You gotta watch out. I'm trying to show I'm unbiased.
You're unbiased.
But yeah, thank you all for watching. We'll be back here soon with the interview from Roar Treat.